Let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Boynton Beach Pride flag mural damage. Police shelf case with no suspects. A motorcyclist documenting himself burning tire marks into the Pride Progress flag painting in Boynton Beach. It is the latest in a series of incidents targeting the LGBTQ plus street murals. According to a police incident report, at about 1 a.m. on June 2nd, a witness heard loud screeching noises and watched as a man in dark clothing and a helmet spun his tires multiple times over the rainbow streetscape on the intersection of East Ocean Avenue and Southeast 1st Street in Boynton Beach. After making the burnouts, the man got off of his motorcycle and took pictures of the marks. He headed westbound on Ocean Avenue after that. Investigators sent around a be on the lookout quote alert within the police department, but with no results. They also searched social media in case the man had posted pictures or video of the burnouts, but they didn't find anything. Police have now shelved the case without a suspect. Meanwhile, the 20-year-old Lake Worth man who burned the marks into the Pride Flag Street mural in Delray Beach was sentenced to 2 years of probation, 100 hours of community service, and a mandatory mental health screening. He was ordered to write a 25-page essay on the victims of the massacre, the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, and hate against the LGBTQ plus community. Okay, so how much investigation do you really think they did? How much time was spent on this story? How much time did they really go to? Because we all know there's a way to identify ping services, to identify where your cell phone was at, to identify what was happening. We know that there are street signs and we know that video cameras exist. Yep. So how much did they really look? Because we know bashings in our community is often never investigated. Our trans siblings get attacked at least daily. No one ever takes them seriously. Folks of color get shot and killed. Incidents, unless we push back on the police, does anything ever happen? So I ask you guys, how much investigation do you think happened?
I don't think they've done much. I do trust that they will, because I know they have a really good mayor, and Ty Persera. He's the LGBTQ mayor of Boynton Beach, I believe. And so I do believe that, you know, there will be some pressure to get this resolved pretty soon. But it's kind of concerning. It's been a while now.
Yeah. And I think there's limited resources. You know, there's so much hate. You know, the Jewish community has been under attack for persecution for decades, but there's been an uptick in the last several years. So you take all the things that are happening to the black community, to the Jewish community, to the LGBTQ community, and then the resources they have are finite. They don't have federal funding. They're city offices. And how many people do they have out there? I'm not making an excuse for them, because it needs to find some kind of funding from somewhere to stop it. But you got to decide which is the one, which today is more important, which is the one that's creating the most violence. Who's, you know, I don't know what the answer is, but I don't want to completely say the police aren't trying, because like you say, I believe they are. I just don't think they have the resources.
So I wonder the fact that the matter that only time we ever get answers is when we put pressure onto situations, and that's what concerns me. Because if you know, a little simple, people typically escalate when they do what they do. So a damage to a mural could be the start of other opportunities and/or other opportunities they've already had, and that was just one of the many things that this person may or may not have done. And so that's what I mean by, is this person leaving a trail? Have we even looked into prior bad acts? Could this person be tied to any of those things?
Well,
makes me concerned.
And if there is if at this point with the limited resources, the police have not found anything yet, this is not a rocket scientist we're talking about here. This is not somebody who is probably highly educated.
Hey,
yeah, we see you. We come
rocket
for you.
scientist.
But I'm just saying, at some point that person's going to get cocky, or somebody, a friend of his, is going to see the video and go, my brother is gay, my sister is a lesbian. I don't. No, right. Somebody's going to come up. It's just an issue of we have to be patient. But that doesn't mean that this isn't an opportunity for us as a community to go out and paint that mural back,
right?
And
that's where we turn negative into positive.
Right. We need to come together and say, okay, go ahead. You can do it. It's not leaving. We're going to replace it. We're going to fix it. We're going to support this.
Yeah, shelved just makes me nervous, because when I see shelved, I see a box with dust. And we all watch Law and Order. We all know the SPUs when they had to go back and blow the dust off of the thing. And to your point, I agree with that. We hope that someone sees, and change only happens when it affects someone in their home.
But equally important in that story is that the gentleman who did damage to the Deerfield one, 2 years of probation, that's a big thing. He's a young man. He's in his late teens, early 20s. I know a 20-year-old man. They're stupid. I was a 20-year-old man. So he's going to walk a fine line. And I think it's important that the judge, I'm glad the judge made him write an essay, even though it kind of makes me chuckle going, okay, now I got a 25-page essay. But he's doing an essay on the Pulse massacre. So maybe he'll have the opportunity to learn a few things. Maybe these 100 hours will be defined that he has to work with an LGBTQ plus organization or a number of organizations, so that he can see the different sides of the lifestyle that we lead and see the challenges that we have right now. So I'm actually glad that even in his situation, 2 years probation is a big deal when you're in your 20s. And then to also have to do homework and talk to people and possibly go out into the community as well. Maybe he'll learn something and grow up a little bit.
Could have been worse. Could have been in prison. So.
And he could have, but I love your optimism. I think 2 years can definitely make or break a person's existence, because if he was indoctrinated with hate, those 2 years he may slip, and those 2 years he may rebuild himself. It is my hope, though, and I definitely do agree with you that community service is built within the heart of the LGBTQ community. I mean, and all of our allies, because if that's how you really know whether or not a change of heart can occur, if you really immerse yourself in that behavior, in that environment, to really see the hardships. Because often we all know, we talked about dating and putting on our best face. I'm gonna get through those hours. I'm gonna get through those 2 years, but that hate could still fester and then do something else. And so I'm hoping.
And it's important. I mean, you brought that up. My optimism. I've been through the 80s. I've been through the 90s. We as a community have gone through so many bigger hurdles, and we've survived that. We're going through a hiccup right now, and it's a big growing process. We've gained a lot, and we're slipping back a little bit. But you know what? We're too big and too strong and too special and too wonderful not to go through this. And we just have to, we have to remind ourselves of who we are.
Absolutely.
But I don't think that we can be complacent.
We can't be complacent.
Because, yes, I believe that we can get through this, but I don't believe we can get through it unless we have action.
But that's part of getting through it, is we have to come together. We have to find that spot, and we have to vote, and we have to be political, and we have to show our value, and we have to show our finances, and we have to put it all on the
Nobody's
table.
looking at my finances.
And share the stories. I love what you said. We have to share the stories. As you mentioned, a lot of us, many of us, at this table, with the exception of our wonderful Elijah, have been through the block a few times, and so we've been resilient enough to know.
I've been through the block a couple of times.
Well, just a couple times.
A block and a half.
A block and a half. But we know the stories, and we know how to overcome, and we have to share how you overcame, how I overcame, how your story, your journey was very different than my journey, and utilize those tools to encourage. And so when the half block comes in and tells us how they overcame, we can then get inspired. Because I get inspired every day by talking to the Gen Zers, the Elijahs, the other Max Finney's, those folks who are out there doing the work and pushing forward. That reignites the energy that we had in order to get through when we lost many friends, when we couldn't find homes because nobody wanted to welcome us into it, or afraid that we were going to do something, when in actuality, it wasn't us, it was the outside world. So all we want to do is survive and live.
If we use the same energy that we support our rock stars and our fashionistas and our TikTok influencers, if we use that same energy for our politics and our financial strength and our intelligence, there's nothing going to stop us.
Amen.
We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show from Happening Out Television Network. In the model of PBS and NPR, we educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of the LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the stories going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.